Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's doing all right tonight. Here, I don't want to be the only. Want you to be the only one on camera, so I gotta get mine.
I can pop off if you want. I mean, I can go to icon.
Forget that, man. Here we go. I got myself a new icon recently, and boom, still wearing the collared shirt from work. Got a style and profile a little bit,
Oh
man.
yeah,
It's just been
pop that collar.
Yep. Boom. There we go. That's how we roll. Big pimping ain't easy, man.
Oh,
So so we are here. Got my boy, the geek in disguise. How are you doing today, my friend?
I am doing good, actually. How are you? Long day
Man,
at work.
it's a very Monday-ish Monday. You much more Monday-ish than normal Mondays, I would say.
Oh yeah.
But you know, we're here. We survived, and so I can't complain too much. So we are good. I've got my cats going nuts all underneath.
I hear them.
My wife's chasing her around with a squirt bottle because they're up getting stuff they shouldn't be. So last night, Game of Thrones season 8, episode 2. How are you feeling? Just an overall feeling. How strong are you feeling right now?
Say that last part again. You started to break up there.
Oh, okay. Season 8, episode 2, man. How strong you feeling, man? Was it a good episode?
I mean, it was a little underwhelming in my opinion. I mean, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's just I expected a little bit faster pace since, episode 3 is where it's supposed to really pop off, and we're gonna go, deep into the battle with the White Walkers and the dead. So I think they just took a little bit too much time focusing on the smaller stuff and not some of the bigger stuff. Like, for example, Daenerys and Jon Snow's reveal. That was like only 3 minutes long of a scene, and it was just so rushed. I felt that we didn't get the reaction we should have gotten from Daenerys. And I mean, like, I see people posting, the calm before the storm. It's just they went, they spread the butter a little too thin, in my opinion. There we go. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel what you're going at right there. They've really. I've been really kind of taken at the fact that it's in 2 episodes to really get into the action. They really pumped this. This season up to be just full action packed. They're like, we're going 2-hour episodes, an hour and a half episodes and stuff. And so far, there's only been one hint of action right there with the Umber kid in number 1. Let me address the chat real fast. Number 1, Papa Jim, who is my father-in-law, is in the chat. How you doing, Papa? Don and Lisa Fee, some really good friends of mine.
Greetings,
Drunk 3PO, as always. The man of men. Every man wants to be him, and every woman wants to be with him. So how you doing? D, how's it going, man? I'm always glad to see one of my things. Thomas, what's going on? I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry you couldn't make it tonight. Me and Thomas did the stream last week, and we had a really good conversation. So that was definitely awesome in there. So really pumped about that. I think my camera is slowing me down. So I'm gonna go back to
we can go to icon. That's good.
I'm gonna go back to my little go. We've gone mystery men. That's what I'm talking about. So anyways, it was kind of a boring episode on one hand. Like, if you're looking for a lot of action and stuff, just not very much happened. But at the same time, everybody, like, for 7 seasons, it started to happen right around the last season, the last couple episodes. It's now everybody's starting, all the characters that everybody's wanted to, get together and meet and have their paths cross. it's finally happening.
Exactly.
John and Daenerys, the Hound and Arya are back in the same place again. And I just cannot get enough of Tormund Giantsbane. That guy is
He's
just, oh my word.
hilarious. For 10 days, I sucked on the teat of a giant. She thought I was a baby.
Like she thought I was her baby. I could not believe that. The more he talked, the more in love I fell with him.
Oh, he's an awesome character, man. I was really hoping he would have taken the leap of faith last night and just threw himself at Brienne and, no holds barred. Just, I'm going to put it all out there. This is what I want. Let's see if this can happen.
Oh, man, I know. Like, I feel like he is the walking Game of Thrones meme. Like, he is a meme just all by himself, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my word. So let's get to the first thing. The whole show opens up with Jaime on trial, not only by Daenerys, but by Sansa, man. How uncomfortable was that?
That had to have been really uncomfortable. It took a lot of balls for Jaime to be standing there, especially knowing he was coming empty-handed. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Tyrion was there, and like he said, they can't trust Cersei. Yeah. But I honestly think Jaime would have been in shackles and in the dungeon somewhere had Brienne not stood up for him, because that basically gave Sansa the pedestal to get up and say, I trust her, and if she trusts him, let's get this guy on our side. And Jaime's a good person to have on your side because of his skill. He might not be able to fight so well as he pointed out anymore, but the guy still has a lot of skill on the battlefield as far as leadership position, and maybe aiding Brienne in calling out commands to the troops and stuff during the battle. But yeah, and it wasn't so much for him. Tyrion was under the gun too, because Daenerys was looking at him like, you're the one who took me to your sister. You're the one who said she'd do this. And then.
Right. And it's, he really is a good general. D's in the chat, he's like, he's still the best general.
Oh, yeah.
I fully agree. I think like at the end of in the middle of season 7, when he was going to the Blackwater, when Brienne and Podrick went to try to convince him to get the army back up for the Battle of the Bastards. I think that was right near season 6. He wouldn't do it, but then here comes that army's just sitting there trying their best to get into the castle. They can't do it, and then all of a sudden, boom, he just pops up there and talks his way into the castle without hardly anything happening. I mean, yeah. Jaime he knows what he's doing. The guy knows what's going on for sure.
Then he's sitting there under the gun with Bran because, and I had forgotten. I haven't watched season 1 in such a long time. I forgot that it was Jaime who pushed him out the window. So I'm like sitting there facepalm. I'm like, damn. And now he's sitting here in front of him. Is he going to throw him to the wolves or?
Bran literally got to him, looked at him, and said, "The things we do for love," and that was exactly what Jaime said to him.
Yep.
In the first one, right before he pushed him. I mean, he knew exactly what was going on, but he had to look Bran in the face. He had to look Daenerys in the face, and he had to look Sansa in the face because he was part of what killed her father.
Yep.
And so this has been burning for years. And
it's that culmination of.
Oh, absolutely. And but what was really cool, I think probably the best part about this scene was when Brienne came up and defended him. But what ended up happening is Daenerys had asked him why he abandoned Cersei. And basically what he says, it goes beyond loyalty. This is all about survival.
Yep.
That was important to me because in season 7's finale, when they had all gone to meet with each other, the dragons came in, and that's when they showed the living dead person to Cersei. As they're walking out, Brienne runs up to Jamie and says, what's the matter with you? And then she's like, this goes beyond loyalty. Literally, he echoed everything that Brienne said to him in that episode, which meant she got to him big time. And so everybody's always speculated she's got a thing for Jamie. Absolutely. But now it's like she's finally got through to Jamie, where Jamie may be finally responding. And Papa Jim in the chat, he said, Ned Stark absolutely did say something. I've got to go back and look. Ned Stark did say something about Bran the Builder is who built the wall and who was responsible for building the wall and stuff. So yes, that's exactly correct. Daenerys was so pissed at Tyrion for standing up for his brother.
Yeah.
I almost wonder,
but I don't think she quite understands their dynamic and their relationship fully. I was
even taken back because she's admitted many, many times that her father was a terrible person, a terrible king, and even said, he deserved what happened. But now that she's faced with his killer, I think she may be changing her tune a little bit.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised at that. I'm like, you got to know who you're talking about, but another kind of iconic thing of this is, they finally like, okay, we got you. And they give his sword back. His sword is actually Widow's Wail that was his stupid kid's. Everybody hates his stupid kid, Joffrey. But that's the sword he's kept forever. And that sword actually was melted down from Ned Stark's old sword named Ice.
Yeah.
And that sword was forged into two things, which was Widow's Wail and Brienne's sword, Oathkeeper. And so that was kind of the first time that both of those swords made it back to Winterfell, where the steel was originally forged. So that was awesome. I thought, wow, that's how.
Yeah, it's like so much of it. Like, I think that's what made the episode good for me last night, was how so many things came full circle. Like, and just everything's ending up right back at Winterfell and just culminating like.
And that's the reason I've forgiven so much of the fact that there's not very much action. On one hand, it's like, oh my word, this is so boring. It's like I'm watching Murder, She Wrote or something like that. I don't know. I went back to the 80s there. But at the same time, it's like, man, all of this stuff that you've been waiting to come full circle finally is.
Yeah.
How do you think Jamie's going to fare this season? You think he's going to make it all the way through?
No.
I don't think so either.
I think I have a feeling he's going to trade lives for Brienne at some point.
Yeah. I was wondering if that would be the case too, but he's got so much to pay for. It's like he and Theon, I believe, are going to I believe he and Theon kind of have the same thing. They've just both got so much to pay for.
Yep.
And, in one way or another, they've got to find a way to redeem themselves. And I think it's probably going to be to the death, and so I think, oh, my word, by the way, Theon and Sansa, their kind of reunion and stuff, that was a tearjerker. I won't lie.
Oh, with Theon? Yeah, that was.
Oh, dude. That look she had on her face is like, man,
he's back.
I'm telling you what.
Yeah.
Sophie Turner nailed that like none other.
But again, somebody that, did them a lot of dirty, when the time comes and it really matters, he's there against all odds. And he at least brought vital information for him to use, in Cersei. Because I think that's the next battle. There's going to be the battle with the Walkers and then the battle with Cersei's army.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I just really hope a dragon eats her.
Well, I have my prediction. I called it last week, and I still have my prediction as to how I think the Queen is going to get hers, and it's epic. We'll save that for the end because we're always gonna make our death predictions at the very end just to see where everybody is. Now let's get the elephant out of the room and talk about Arya's very awkward scene.
Well, I mean,
Oh.
I've been waiting for it for a while because they've always had that rapport with each other where they kind of banter back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But at first, I wasn't aware of just how old she was. And like I said, I came on today and I see a bunch of people saying stuff, and I'm like, damn, did they really do that? But then after confirming she is 18, I don't have a problem with it. I thought she ended up with who she should have ended up with. I mean, they've been going back and forth, like I said, for a long while now. And there's always been that underlying kind of sexual innuendo and tone with them where they just, kind of flirt back and forth.
Lisa Fee, you dirty person. Lisa's in there like, pop that cherry. Oh, my word. Freaking.
Hey, it kind of reminded me of Independence Day. Remember when the dude in the trailer park came to the girl from Mrs. Doubtfire? He's like, you don't want to die a virgin, do you?
I just hate those, spontaneous things. I think we're going to die. You want to hook up?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because then when you survive, it's really awkward.
It's
like, oh, sorry, but you're not really the person I want to be with. But at the moment, it just seemed appropriate. But now that we're still alive, I'm checking out.
Yeah,
deuces.
And Dee's like, I'm surprised you didn't tackle him on the road. I'm legit about right there with you. There's always been this thing, but because of the fact that, like, you watch her grow up, you watch her start off as like 11 on the show and then move to 12 and 13, and that is drunk. That's how me and Jesse's relationship started. It sure is, man. We watched her grow up and everything, and it's like you get to this point where you're like, you don't realize that she's of age to kind of do that. But it's like, I wasn't expecting it to go full like HBO type deal. I didn't. No, it was just.
I wasn't expecting well, not like full blown nudity, but I did feel a little awkward looking at her when she undressed because I'm like, dude, she's supposed to be a kid, and again, I'm thinking she's like young, like early teens. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I'm expecting Chris Hansen to pop in my front door, something like that.
Yeah.
Why don't you have a seat in that chair?
Like, oh, you got popcorn, huh? Well, yeah. Wait a minute.
But on the other end, though, it was probably necessary, and I'm glad they finally confirmed what everybody already knew, that there was just too much tension there to.
Yeah.
You could cut that tension, man. I'm just like, everybody was waiting for it to happen from the beginning and everything. It was just so unexpected.
They just out of nowhere ripped that Band-Aid off. Like,
yeah, they went from 0 to 100 in 2.3 seconds, man.
Yeah,
it was nuts. So Arya, more power to you, chick that takes whatever she wants. She's like had no emotion to it either.
No, she's emotionless now. I mean, it almost seemed more of just a physicality thing with her than an emotional attachment, because ever since the Death Dude, the Man of Many Faces, she's just she's gotten so cold blooded, and like even the Hound pointed that out last episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was so talkative. Now she's just not. And oh my word, she was scarred up. The waif from season 5 or whatever did a number on that girl. Oh my word. But tell you what, that was. I'm what 3PO's calling that she's going to be the one that sits on the throne.
I don't know, man.
I still haven't called who sits on the throne. I haven't called that one yet. But she will take the Queen's breath. See, that's what man, drunk's already given away my thing. So that was my death call. Is that Jaime's not going to make it through. Not going to make it through the season. Jaime's going to die. But I think it's going to be Arya. She's going to take his face, and that's how she's going to get close to the queen, and she's going to gut her.
But question is, will she or will she not have already had the child she's carrying? She's still pregnant with Jaime's son or unborn child.
That's tough.
That's what I said. There's just so many little details, and you're like, oh my God. And I don't know how long and how much time is going to pass over this whole battle and everything. Because, you know, when that dude was like, oh, I'm going to put a baby in your belly, I'd be like, but she's already got one.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know of Arya. I don't think she has many craps to give about anything.
And see, too, like DK just pointed out, Gendry, he's royalty, man. He's, you know, I overlooked that the last couple episodes. And then last night I'm like, wait, he's the bastard son. He's royal blood.
Yeah, he's got Baratheon blood, man.
For being the end season and coming up to this battle, there are so many possibilities for, you know, taking that seat. Because I mean, you've got Daenerys, you've got Jon Snow, you've got Gendry, you've got, you know, the unborn child. You've got, I mean, there's so many that are just out there. You're like, man.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, there's so many possibilities in so many different ways. I mean, this is just why I freaking love this show, man.
Oh,
it's just, you never know which way it's going to go.
Papa Jim, I do believe the Hound will take Mountain down this season. Because again, everything's coming full circle. The one that killed the Mountain is going to be the Hound.
I cannot wait for that battle. That battle has been a long time coming. Ever since, like, he told you the story about how he burned his face and everything, and that it was you know, actually his brother that burned his face. It's just like, oh man, you want the Mountain to go down. You want him to go down bad because of that. What a jerk face.
Like, I was really hoping Cersei was gonna murk that dude too that took over the Greyjoy's ships. Like, I was like, she was gonna Black Widow him or Praying Mantis, sleep with him, and then fucking kill him. I was really hoping for that. But
that'd have been awesome. Yeah. But see, here's the key. Here's one of the keys of this season, though. I'm telling you what, Cersei made a big mistake last season, and that is they've talked about the Iron Bank for tons of seasons, and that the Iron Bank controls everything. Well, she paid the Iron Bank back in full with the money, because whenever, like in episode 4 last season or whatever, when Daenerys rode in on her dragon and just blew up half of the army, they had already rolled gold back into King's Landing and said, you know what, here you go, we're paying you all back with this. But now the problem is that the Iron Bank always funds who they think is going to be the winning side. And now that she's paid them back in full, they don't have a vested interest in her anymore. They can move their investments somewhere else. I think she just gave up like a crucial thing for the Iron Bank, and now the Iron Bank's going to move somewhere else, fund somebody else's army, and get them where they need to be. But that's just that is speculation. But I've seen a couple videos from some other really good YouTubers, and especially going back, I've been watching some clips from the other seasons and everything. Tywin and Tyrion and everybody is like, the Iron Bank and gold is what controls who's on the throne. The Iron Bank doesn't care too much about the affairs of what's happening, but they care about their investments, and they know what's going on. And so it's going to be a huge thing with what happens with the Iron Bank and who they decide to back, now that they don't have to worry about chasing Cersei down for their money or their loan anymore.
Yeah.
But that's going. But that one's going pretty deep, pretty far back and everything. So Brienne got knighted by Jaime.
Awesome.
Was that
moment.
An awesome move? Dude.
That was an awesome moment for me.
And I was just waiting for that anyways. I was
Yeah.
like, man, how is this lady? I mean, like one of the very few actually, when I say noble, I mean not just a title, but like her freaking personality, man. She's
Yeah.
just going in there and just doing everything as honorably as possible. She's like the female Ned Stark. And
Yeah, in a way, yeah, very much so.
and I'm just like, man, she's finally got hers. And it's about time. And the fact that it was Jamie that did it, oh my word, that was like poetic justice. That was just poetic justice, and I just love the fact that it was both of them that were able to interact with it and do it there. And it was, oh, all the right people were there to witness it too.
Yep.
Drunk, you have a good night, man. Take it easy, and night, Papa Jim. I'll kiss my girls for you. Y'all sleep well.
Catch you later, big handsome.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Like,
All the
and I do believe that was probably
coolest
the
people in here,
first
man.
time Brienne had ever smiled on this show.
Yeah, it was like it's like watching Wednesday Adams smile in Adams Family
Yeah.
too.
Great comparison.
I didn't know how to feel with that. I didn't know how to feel with that. But I looked into also, she was Jamie actually named her, gave her the name the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which was the title of this episode, was Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. And I was looking into it. There's actually a series of novellas, if I think that's what you call it, like short novels
Yeah.
that George R. R. Martin wrote as kind of a prequel to Song of Ice and Fire. And good night, D. Sleep well, brother. You guys, thanks for stopping by. But he wrote it as a prequel, and the title of his little collection was called Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. And the main character of that was actually a guy named Sir Duncan the Tall. And Sir Duncan the Tall is actually mentioned a couple times, but George R. R. Martin in a little, I don't want to say news conference, kind of like a little fan thing or whatever, but actually confirmed that Brienne is actually a descendant of Sir Duncan the Tall. Don, Lisa, good night, man. I hope y'all feel better, man. Y'all take it easy. Everybody's peeling out, man. It turns 10 o'clock, and that dial turns. But I thought it was really awesome looking back into it that she is a direct descendant of Sir Duncan the Tall, who was a pretty big hero back in the day. That's where she got her stature, her fighting abilities, and everything like that. And then she's finally able to come around and be a knight. It was awesome, man. It was awesome.
And the first woman knight, like,
I know that there's literally nobody more deserving. But I mean, I don't know too many other female fighters that they've had in the show, with the exception of those little witches from Dorne that did nothing but poison each other. I was like back in season 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because she killed her dad.
Yep, she sure did. So let's get on and let's talk. We kind of one of our last things or whatever. Jon finally revealed his identity to Daenerys. Hi, Aunt. You've been French kissing me. That's weird. How do you think she took it? Better than you thought? Or about the same?
It was so hard to tell because it was cut so short. And for the biggest reveal of the episode, I thought they did it an injustice by keeping it to 3 minutes and then interrupted by the horn, because she didn't really have time to process it. But she immediately went to trying to shut it down. It was like, oh, who told you this? Oh, Bran and them on a vision and some books. Like, but then I think she, like, part of her knew, but part of her just didn't want to accept it because she thought she is the true and one heir to the throne. And come to find out she's actually sleeping with and falling in love with the true heir to the throne. There's a lot for her to process. And like I said, it was just cut so short. You didn't really actually get to see her react other than try and kick in denial. Like,
I actually think that the fact that it was cut so short did it justice to the fact that it just built up a ton of anticipation for the coming episodes, because you didn't get a chance to see her true. They didn't get a chance to talk about it in detail or anything, but her reaction was fierce almost.
But
it's like,
do you think she'll kill Jon Snow?
So what?
Do you think she'll kill Jon Snow?
See, I'm torn about that.
She's not one to let people stand in her way.
She's not one to let people stand in her way, and that's kind of always been the Targaryen side of her, is the fact that her claim to the, like, why is she even going for the throne? Oh, because I'm a Targaryen and that's just what I do. Like, really? Come on, you've been living in Essos for 3/4 of your life, and you haven't stepped foot in Westeros in forever, and you're just going to say, "Oh, I'm born to be queen" or whatever. Like, what?
It's her birthright. I mean, a lot of people that have that birthright decide, they just ultimately. And I think it was so much that when her brother died, she got the notion that I'm going to pursue this.
Yeah. And to be fair to her too, though, she did have, the spider had made so many attempts on her life. Robert Baratheon had made so many attempts on her life for a while. And, so she did have a bone to pick with almost every monarch in Westeros.
Yeah.
As it was. But, it's just been one of those things where nothing is going to stand in her way. She had literally all of Essos under her control. Yeah. She had the whole Dothraki army, the whole Unsullied army. And she had, Meereen and Astapor and all of those places over there that she could have just been like, you know what? I've got Essos. No big deal. She didn't really care about that. She wanted to get across the sea. It's just like she's been on this mission from day one. And now she realizes that there's one person that she's loved aside from Drogo. And it's this dude. And he may actually be the king, and she's not. And she's not what she thought she was. And that's a pill to swallow for the time being, but her ambition and her drive is very Targaryen-like, and her family's not exactly have the best history of thinking rationally when they're challenged.
And I thought about the possibility of her and Jon just, okay, you're the rightful heir, I'm a rightful heir. How about we just get married and rule together and kill two birds with one stone? Because it would have ended up that way anyway. I thought about that if they survived and they went on and she was in love and they got married, he'd still end up king anyway. So what difference does it make?
See, I thought about that too, but I thought about that in episode 1 before I saw the way that she reacted in episode 2. And I knew she would react a certain way, but it wasn't like oh my word, we both have a birthright. Oh my word, we can both do this as a team and stuff. He's like, no. But at the same time, Jon has always been a man of, integrity, but also he's not beholden to anything except his family in the North. And he didn't even want to be named the King of the North for forever. He didn't really want that responsibility, but he took it because he had to. Do you think there's a possibility where he's going to be like, listen, you go to your place, rule over all of the other houses and stuff. Leave me alone. I've got the North, and there you go. That's what he's been driving for the whole time, anyways.
See, I'm not quite sure because you kind of glossed over another key scene here that kind of gave us an insight to Daenerys's mindset. When she went in and tried to play nice with Sansa and kind of bury the hatchet and bond.
Yeah.
When Sansa brought up
Yeah, what you? I mean, are you
What's
going to leave us
Winterfell's
alone?
future after the war? Are we still going to be our own thing, or because we're not looking for another king, and we've already pretty much fought for our freedom from the Seven Kingdoms? And Daenerys was like,
Nah.
yeah, like, yeah, you're going to be under my rule, like. And you saw her draw her hand back, and they kind of like just gave each other that look, and it was like there was that split. So there's going to be tension between them if they survive. But I think it would be right for Daenerys to grant them separation,
And see,
and
that's
let
been
them
my
do their
thing.
own
Is like,
thing,
what has
considering the
been?
help that they're doing, they're making.
See, that's been my thing. What is even the problem with letting that happen, anyways? I mean, these guys, while you've been playing tiddlywinks over there doing what you got to do to get your armies and stuff, we've been over here had our house taken over by like 2 or 3 different people. You know, the women have been, almost all the guys, with the exception of John and Bran, have been killed. Arya's been all over the place and gone through her bout of hell, and Sansa's been married to like 3 or 4 different people who are terrible. She's been raped,
Yeah.
she's been traded, and all that stuff. If anybody could relate to Sansa, I would think it would be Daenerys being sold and traded and just, I mean, treated like a piece of property. And you think, listen, you've got 1.5 billion people down south, and we've got about 300,000 people up here. Leave us to our thing. Let us live in peace. We can live with respect for each other. And that's Daenerys's that's her Targaryen side coming out and just being like, the thing is, this is still my kingdom too. Okay. I mean, that's just, she's just turning out to be more Targaryen like every time she turns around and talks. And Targaryens are not very nice people. when history is, when you go back and review,
John's about the only exception.
Yeah.
But that's because he grew up his whole life not knowing he was a Targaryen. So,
Yeah.
knowing now is
half
not going to
Stark.
change what he's become.
But he's half Stark too. He's half Targaryen and half Stark.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's all of the, with the exception of the Lannisters, who were all about boning their nephews and sisters and brothers and all that stuff. Targaryens do that too. They've always kept their bloodline within their own house as well. And Jon Stark, or now Aegon Targaryen, is the exception because Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark got together, and not Aegon and another Targaryen this time. And so he's got some very, very honorable blood in him. So that's going to be a very interesting thing.
I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more of Sam and Gilly, other than just a few moments we got with them in bed with the kid. Because, I mean, for another 2 set of characters that came from 2 opposite sides of the world to come together in this moment, like, and then
I'm telling you what, Sam is one of my favorites.
And the thing here too that plays in with Jon Snow and Daenerys is Sam is Jon's right-hand man. Mm-hmm. Sam's not very happy with Daenerys because, they roasted and toasted his father and brother.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you saw how he took that. So it's like, I don't know, man. There's just so much politics and stuff going on and intermingling. It's like, God, anything can go anywhere from this point forward. But it was good to see him pass his sword on to the dude with the stone skin. I just had his name in my mind too.
Yeah, Jorah.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
That was a very, very cool move as well. He and Jorah have, just between them, they only have their history with, with him curing him of grayscale.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, he served under his father at the wall. And so, I mean, he had, Jorah's kind of learning that he, he's been in exile and been kind of downcast. And he even saw that from that little 12-year-old jerk girl, even though she commands a lot of respect.
Yeah.
That's I think they said cousins, I believe.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, she called him cousin.
yep. And so she is, she's now the leader of their house. And now this older guy who's way more experienced in everything has to answer to her because of his transgressions back in the day. But it's kind of one of the common things that I've seen is that everybody's been making up for their mistakes.
And then you got Jorah and Tyrion
Mm-hmm.
and Daenerys, that whole three-way going on with the hand position.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know.
And Jorah even stood up for Tyrion on that.
He
He's
did.
like, I mean, and that's why, that's.
And it was kind of messed up. She's like, "You're going to stand up for the dude that took your job?" Well, yeah. I respect him. And that's where they went in. They're like, he adapts. He makes mistakes. He learns. He's full of wisdom, and that's where he stated in the hall where he was talking about whoremongering. He's like, well, you can always go back to whoremongering. He's like, no, brother, things have changed. Like, we just, we're not those people anymore.
Yeah. It's cool to see his transformation as where he's been and where he's come to. And it's like everything with Tyrion has been really cool. Everything with Tyrion he's gained not by like studying or not by like being a warrior or anything like that. It's just been experience after experience after experience of things that he's been through and been in and situations that he's that have been put in front of him that he's had to deal with. So I really respect Tyrion in the fact that he just learns from anything that he's ever been through and applies them to what he's up.
And despite all hurdles and obstacles, seems to manage to clear him pretty well for being an imp.
Oh yeah. And by the way, he was only there for about 5 seconds, but did anybody notice that Ghost was back? Ghost, the direwolf, made an appearance.
Oh yes.
And he was on the wall. I haven't seen him in like 2 seasons. He was there and then he was just gone.
See, that's where I'm kind of torn about Jaime, because I have a feeling Jaime's going to trade lives with Brienne. But if he survives, is Bronn still going to kill? Like, is he going to kill Jaime? Because Jaime double crossed him and he's not happy.
Yeah.
Because Cersei hired him to kill both the brothers. And I can see him killing Jaime, but I can't see him killing Tyrion. Because him and Tyrion kind of have that rapport with each other. Because, Jaime promised him the castle and the keep and the women and, all that and the title and then took it away.
I almost feel like he's going to try to kill Jaime, but may end up getting a knife in the back from Tyrion.
Well, my thing is, I kind of have this idea that Jaime's going to save Brienne.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he's going to turn to her and look, and then he's just going to end up with a fucking crossbow bolt in his back out of nowhere. And you're going to look across the battlefield, and you're going to see Bronn standing there, and he dies in Brienne's arms. So I'm kind of playing on that idea too.
Oh, well, I know Jaime will end up dying. He's not going to make it.
Yeah.
But, I'm just calling that death quick and easy, but that would suck. I don't want Bronn to kill him. I want him to die pretty gloriously. Some turd. Bronn's always been pretty cool and a funny guy and everything, but he's not really worth the respect or whatever. It's just, he's a turd.
And how cute was that little girl? She kind of reminded me of the Hound, because she had the burnt face, and she's like, "My brothers were knights. I want to fight,
dude."
And then she's like, "That's fine. I'll defend the crypt." And I'm just like, this sweet little girl is just standing here with big old cojones, like, "I want to fight. Where's my place?"
I'll tell you who she reminded me of was Stannis Baratheon's daughter that he sacrificed in season 5. I knew that especially that was what's his face?
Shireen, I think was the girl's name.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember he's the advisor. He's the advisor to Jon Snow now, that he was the advisor to so many freaking names in the show. lose track of all of them.
Yep.
But he's the one that had his fingertips cut off by Stannis Baratheon, and now he's advising Jon Snow. Dude's from Flea Bottom in King's Landing. He's the Onion Knight. Oh, God, whatever. Anyways, he was the guy that kind of felt like a father to Stannis Baratheon's daughter, and was really pissed at
Davos.
Yeah, Davos. That's his name.
Yeah, I had to look that one up too because I knew the last name, but I couldn't remember the first name.
Yeah, that took him by surprise, and I know that was a pretty choked up moment too. But I'm wondering, where is Melisandre? She rode off in exile at the end of season 7, I believe, or sometime in the middle of season. No, it was the end, because that was when they announced that winter was actually here now.
You talk about the redhead chick, right? The witch.
The redhead lady, the red lady. Jon Snow exiled her and told her to go away. But I wonder. But she's still alive. I wonder what's going to end up happening. If she's going to make an appearance or if she's done. That would be.
I know they've mentioned the Lord of the Light a couple times over the past couple episodes.
Yeah, they have mentioned the Lord of Light, but it's always been with that one-eyed guy. I can't remember his name either. The guy with the flaming sword. But he's always he's the guy that is now all about the Lord of Light right now. Yeah, and he's all about the Lord of Light right now. But Melisandre, she was all about the magic and the spell casting and everything, and he's just about, I'm going to catch my sword on fire, stab people, and then hopefully somebody will bring me back to life for the umpteenth time whenever I die. So that'll Melisandre. I thought she was pretty cool. She sucked a little bit, but she was kind of mysterious and cool in her ways until we had to see that she was a 50 billion year old lady in that one episode that time. Oh my word. That was blood curdling.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's so do you have any death predictions for this next episode? Do you think anybody major is gonna end up taking the long road to the gods?
It's so hard to tell right now because this next 2 episodes are going to be brutal on all the viewers because there's going to be a lot of people dying. But to peg it down to who exactly, it's too much of a toss up in my mind. Like, I can't peg it.
I'm trying, I don't want to believe. I know there's probably going to be a major character die, but I'm trying to think how major would they leave him? I'm calling that Theon will probably die, which will probably make me cry because I'm really invested in that guy. And I think that Podrick is going to end up dying at some point. He's been a really good soldier, and Brienne's been teaching him to fight and everything. But when the battle finally comes, I don't think he's going to be able to hold his own.
You're talking about the guy that was in the hall that got the whole cup, right? Because Brienne only told him half cup. And
yes.
Gave him a whole, okay.
Dude, that was great.
Yeah.
He looked at him. Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. I don't think Podrick's going to make it through the next episode, though.
Because like I said, I have a feeling there's going to be 2 battles this season, and the first one's going to be with the White Walkers, and then whoever's left is going to have to face off with Cersei and her army to extinguish that threat. But who dies and when? That's the question. And I don't think Jaime's dying next episode. I don't think Tyrion's dying. I'm thinking the little short Irish dude, the one that looks like he looks like that wrestler guy. Neville. He looks like Neville from WWE. Yeah. I think he's going to die alongside, fighting with Jon Snow.
I'm telling you, I have a bad feeling about the people in the crypt.
I do
bad
too.
Feeling about the people in the crypt. I feel like they're going to get down there, and all of the people in the crypt are going to end up dying.
Yeah, I'm thinking all the people that are in the crypt are going to end up White Walkers.
Dude, see, I was wondering that same thing too. Will the White Walkers come back and then all of a sudden, boom, Ned Stark just pops out of there and starts killing people like crazy? Or is there such a thing as too far dead?
I don't think so, because some of them are skeletons, man. It's
how decomposed do you have to be for a White Walker to pass by and like, bro, I don't need you. You stay there and chill. I don't. Is that a thing
I really don't think there is, to be honest.
And I've wondered if these guys raising people from the dead, if people in the crypt are going to come back. I'm not sure about that one. There's also another theory out there too. I don't know if you've seen this one. And I started wondering about this because it doesn't seem to make sense to me that, the Battle of the Dead being like the great battle or whatever only happens in the third episode. And
well, we've only got 8 episodes, so
yeah, is it 8 or 6?
8.
It's
6,
8, that's
I
right.
believe.
So it's so early in the series, in the season. It's like the theory has gone that they will kill the Night King, but the army won't die with the Night King because he's not really the Night King. It's been theorized that Bran Stark is now the Night King after he got touched in his bit, that the Night King, passed himself to Bran, and now Bran is the Night King himself.
Where did you hear that?
I saw a couple videos on it.
I've seen it before.
I've seen a couple videos on it, and I don't know that I fully agree with it too, because I don't even get like what would be the motive behind, if Bran's over there in Winterfell and everything. What's the motive behind bringing all of the army of the dead? And look at Black Angus, he is in.
Yeah, sorry if I missed. I got to work and then I was talking to the new guy about movies, and then I was working on my Drunk 3PO coverage, and then I'm like, oh shit, it's
him. Yeah, right. It is okay, man. New guys always screw everything up, man. You can't trust new guys. Always got to train them and everything. It just slows everything down. Best thing to do is just plant weed in his locker and get him fired so you can come on next time on time.
That's good. I like that.
So Angus, man, we were just talking about a few things here and there, man. What did you think about the episode last night?
Oh man, if I have time, I might throw together my. I was writing a review, and then Josiah sent me the link for the live stream today, which is fun. And I pretty much said everything I was thinking, but over a longer period of time. But I really think it's funny that people are complaining about how slow things are going. It's just people looking at each other, blah, like Jesse Milestone, for instance, which with her thoughts on the new season, she lost all credibility, in my opinion, for a while at least. But it's like, all right, if you hate these same people that actually have some eye for film or whatever can talk about it, they'll complain about the obvious, like Transformers or even The Hobbit Part 3 for sure, which is oversaturated with CGI fights.
Yeah.
But then they'll still complain about this with character development and setting things up. And it's like, what do you want?
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that too. I was like, on one hand, it's I can see where, because especially they've been building up the trailers to hey, hold on 1 second, guys. Keep talking amongst yourselves. Give me one second. I've got a child.
To catch you up, Black Angus, I thought it was a great episode. I did feel that it was a little slow just because it's that precursor to the battle. But it's not bad slow like The Talking Dead slow.
Yeah. This is all like.
I mean, they're slow. It's just there's so much compacted into these short 58-minute episodes.
Yeah, everything has a purpose. You can argue little things earlier on in the show might have been pointless, but I remember when I was doing the recaps with Brandon Moist, we were talking about like season 2 and 3 on rewatch, and it's like, God, this stuff has like, ramifications for like 4 seasons later. I don't know how to talk. I don't know how to restrain,
Yeah.
And now we're at the end game with this stuff, so it's like, I can talk about everything and how everything affects everything. But yeah, this has been very much a show where they make everything reflect and matter for seasons back and forth.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier too. It's all come 180. Like it's all come full circle. Well, 360, it's a full circle all the way back to, where the culmination of so much of these storylines and stuff are, colliding back together. Like he was talking about the Hound and Arya, Jake and his sword coming back to him.
Yeah, I felt I definitely felt it's an extension of episode 1, that these are really just one long episode put together. They've set things up, people against each other that you felt everyone was pretty set about which way they're going. When I remember the showrunners were saying Jon and Daenerys wouldn't end well, I thought it would just be because of incest, and they'd be like, "Oh, we can't do this," or maybe Jon be against it, or even if Daenerys, would be like, "Oh, well, it's in our history, so what does it matter?" I figured there'd be some sort of odds like that, not you're the last male heir, and now they're emotionally split. Whatever Daenerys feels for Jon does not come before the throne. That's been her whole life mission.
Yeah, exactly. And see, that's kind of where I gave it a little bit of, I don't want to say negative on my rating. I kind of lowered my rating a little bit. It was because that whole culmination of those two and then that reveal, I just felt like I was telling Exaggeration Nation. It was too short of a moment to really appreciate and like get a feel for how Daenerys is really feeling, because it was like interrupted so quickly.
I definitely feel that it's a two-edged sword, that perhaps the writers, either they just thought it would work the way it did with the timing and then the interruption with the Night King coming finally, or is either they're just they felt that would work, or they were not confident at how to deliver this with time once she knew, and so they used the Night King to change of pace. We'll just keep you hooked with this cliffhanger of many going forward.
See, and
either way it works. So
I appreciate that it's a short season, but then again, on the other hand, I feel that they're doing a disservice to the show and us fans, because this season probably shouldn't be as short as it is.
But to that reaction, by the way, I'm sorry, I had daddy duty for a second, sudden daddy duty. But for having such a short say and a short reveal on what was going on with that, I was like, man, her reaction and her demeanor, her face spoke volumes. As to kind of
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch the scene again. Probably do a second viewing before this weekend's episode, because I was kind of tuned out a little bit last night. I was pretty tipsy because I did my 150 subscriber video, and it took me like 4 or 5 takes. And you notice I did a shot, so that was 4 or 5 shots right before game. So I'm like,
I had a problem like that when I started, when I first got hooked up with Rookie and Iron Wolf, because like the way my channel was going, I didn't know about like trends necessarily or tags or anything. I just put tags in that like this video is about a couple things, and I didn't think anything about the draw or any of that stuff. I thought YouTube rewarded like merit and work and topics and stuff. I was just very naive, and I had no one to really guide me. And so learning the hard way, once I got through Rookie, it was like, holy shit, I hit 75 subscribers. Oh my God, this is amazing, And looking back, like Drunk was talking about earlier, it's like I remember doing a 50 sub thing, a 35 sub stream, 100. And it's like, like you do these weird number streams when you when you don't really have hope. Like ultimately, you don't have hope of like getting anywhere anytime soon. And I kind of changed that though. Once I don't know if I did 200 or not, but after like 200 for sure, I definitely just I wanted to put enough cushion for the next number where it's like people wanted to fuck with me, most of them wouldn't, and then it kept me motivated. Where it's like I've never done number streams anymore because it's like,
I think I'm gonna do another one at 200 and then maybe 500 and 1,000, like the big ones, because my reasoning for doing it right now is I was not anticipating being where I am in 45 days.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like,
my
and I
stuff
mean, I've got
last month, but it was kind of like me. It took me, I think, a month and a half to get to 120, but now I'm hanging at 170 right now, and I've been on since January, I think.
like one of my videos is about to hit 1,000 views for the first time, and I'm excited. And then it's like I see some of them, hit really big, but it's just like. I like in my last video, I told you I'm just an amateur throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping it sticks right now. And these people have been here for this ride, and I mean, you can look at my videos from when I started to now. There's been a lot of experimenting going on, and for people to stick through that, and and get their criticisms and stuff, to know what works and what draws them and what they appeals to them. So I was like, I thought that was, but yeah, it kind of messed up my head last night when I was watching the show, because when you're tipsy like that, you want to pay attention, but you can't.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I went to Venom, and I always bring when I plan. I always bring my flask of rye whiskey, and have at it. And
nice.
I can still, I don't know. Maybe I'm just more conditioned. I don't know, because I don't drink frequently, but it never seems to really bother me like it used to. So
it always, I think it depends on the atmosphere or whatever. Because I can drink some things in some situations, be just totally fine. I'm just a little more loose, and sometimes
I don't drink regularly. But the last couple of days, I've been outside doing a lot of yard work and like clearing, so I've been sweating a lot, and just not just dehydrating, but like my body's just the fat cells are burning, stuff's getting burnt off and coming out. And then when you sit down and you take a shot, and it's like, I wasn't expecting to do 5 shots, but
hey, those giant handles like Canadian Mist and shit?
Yeah.
I had like maybe the literal handles amount over like a day or two. And then like I just had a day where I just kept throwing back shots, not being a drunk or anything, not drinking frequently. And like the next day, it was just like, it ended up being a bad day, and I ended up going to the hospital for like the drunk tank and shit. But yeah, I literally killed like 2/3 of that bottle in like an 8-hour setting. So it's like, yeah, you can. I mean, it's all about the atmosphere or how you're feeling and shit.
Yeah. So Angus, give me a good death prediction on who you think will end up killing Cersei, or if she'll even die.
Ooh, I've actually predicted for a couple seasons now, especially because I'm not a sub, but I check him out during like Game of Thrones, or because he's got a big following, he's got some insight. I would assume by now, if Jeff Hicks can get insiders, I don't see why this guy couldn't. Emergency Awesome, he's really good at Star Wars, Marvel, and Game of Thrones, and he pointed out months ago, I think for a season 7 trailer, Cersei was he didn't know if it was just to be like a sign of winter coming or if it meant something deeper. But it cuts to Cersei towards the end of the trailer, and she's like breathing cold air, like vapor. You can see it, and it's like, and so from then I was like, oh my god, is she going to become the Night Queen? And given on a rewatch the prophecy of 3 children, and she's already lost 3 children, being pregnant now, and her being aware of that prophecy for all these years, then seeing it come true against her will, I think she's going to become the Night Queen, or attempt to. I never thought about like a transference idea, but they've been pretty, besides like Jon Snow and Melisandre, they've been pretty, they've limited the use of magic or like deities influence in the show, or even dragon power. And so it's, if they pull that out of nowhere, with like the limitations of even Bran since season 7, like you see him for a plot point in season 7 to kind of unfold things, but after that, it's like they've not really utilized him for any big effect. So if the Night King actually transferred his essence, like Sauron, into Bran, or opened a gateway, that'll be really interesting to see because back when I read the books, I always interpreted Bran's dreams before he becomes a three-eyed raven. I thought that was a hint that he would be the one to get with Daenerys, and he would fly a dragon. He would never walk, but he would fly.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was like literal and predicting like a unity of them two. And if he became the Night King, he could, fly. If he took, was it Viserion?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, oh my god, like I can't believe we've gone this far. 4 episodes left, and we're still like, what is happening?
I know. There's so much still up in the air, and it's like, and see, here's the thing: it's like if Cersei becomes the Night Queen, that would mean that the Night King and the dead have plowed through Winterfell. What's going on? What's going to happen to everybody there? That's where Jon is and Daenerys. They'll probably fly off on their dragons if their dragons don't die or whatever. But that means that everybody else is gonna get nabbed.
Well, I really feel they're misdirecting us. The fact that like everyone in this season and last season they've hinted at, if you knock out a walker, it takes out the whites that he's turned, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's like everyone's kind of summarizing. If you knock out the Night King, you knock out everyone. But I think, and there's some people that are like, I think it's going to be more complicated than that. I think that's a big misdirect. The fact that they've hinted at that, and that they've even hinted at the game plan is that, and baiting him with Bran. I really don't think it's going to unfold the way we think, even if they take out the Night King.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, because my ultimate thing is I won't be surprised if Cersei lives through this somehow and stays the queen as like the villain and stuff, because George R. R. Martin, he writes very much from a nihilistic perspective, which I like, and the saying is all men must die, and I could see them playing with that like Lord of the Rings, where it's like, I'm no man.
Right, no man. that'd be freaking something. Like I was, we were talking a little bit earlier that my death calls, I think Cersei is going to die, but I think it's going to be Arya that kills her, because Cersei's been on her list forever, and she hasn't gotten rid of her list. But I think she's going to take Jaime's face and then make her way down with Jaime's face, and then gut the queen after the Hound, kind of distracts the Mountain, gets him out of the way and stuff, and then boom.
Dude, that would be a great misdirect, actually. Make us forget about Arya, or like kind of like how they did with Tormund and his group when the wall fell. It's like, where are they at? They never showed them die. And then they end up being here. I could totally see them doing that and making you think, they're all gone. And then it's like,
I mean, Arya's list has not been mentioned in forever. I was almost kind of wondering for a little bit, is she going to still come back and knife the Hound? Because she never took him off of the list, but at the same time, though, she did leave him for dead after Brienne threw him off the cliff. And so that was almost kind of like her getting him off of her list at that point in time, because she didn't realize that he survived until last episode.
Yeah, I really wish I knew you were such a big Game of Thrones fan this whole time, because me and Brandon Moyes have been doing the recaps for a couple months now. We've had a hiccup these last couple of weeks finishing it out, but
yep. Hey, bring me around, brother. I'm still here, man.
Well, I mean, I definitely want to do this again next year, or like restart it with the whole show and kind of knowing. But maybe I'll either next year or maybe wait till the new show starts like being unveiled or countdown or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been thinking about going back and actually even revamping my channel a little bit. To be about like the history of Game of Thrones, and just kind of like describing the houses and describing the land, and just kind of educating people that there's a lot of people that haven't seen the show and that just kind of watch it from watch a show from a
normie perspective.
Yeah, from a normal perspective, not really understanding the history behind the books or even the canon behind it. And just because we were mentioning earlier that when Brienne was knighted, the name of this show was actually, the name of this episode was called Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is what which is the title which is the title that Jamie gave to her, is the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. But that's actually the name of a series of novellas that George R.R. Martin wrote as a prequel to this after Sir Duncan the Tall. And Sir Duncan the Tall was a character that George R.R. Martin actually confirmed was a descendant to Brienne of Tarth. And so it kind of worked full circle in about
three. Do you mean ancestor?
Yeah, ancestor. I mean, yeah.
No, I was just making sure. No, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely feel he's got like a whole Tolkien kind of work or a Lucas kind of work with the universe, and they're in a new show plan with Naomi Watts, which I'm interested to see because I don't know if you saw, like, there's this weird show where she on Netflix, she played like a sex therapist or a gynecologist or something. It was kind of similar to Chloe, and then she started like sleeping around on her husband with like a chick.
Dang.
And it got pretty hot and bothered. It was like a 10-episode season, and then they canceled the show. I don't know if it's because of Me Too or if it got too like quote unquote rapey or something, given the scenarios of like legality. I don't know.
Wow.
I was really disappointed because I was watching the show. I'm like, man, I can't wait. And I read up about it. Yeah, it's just canceled. I'm like, what the fuck? It's my first time that happened to me.
I even saw like the similarity, even in this episode in Return of the King, how Podrick was singing, just like Pip was singing.
Yeah, I said that earlier today. God, we're so on point together.
Dude, kindred spirits, man. We were meant for each other.
Yeah, like, that's one thing they've actually lacked in Game of Thrones was not merry moments per se, but like just kind of like getting a real feel for like the downtime of the society of this fictitious fantasy that Game of Thrones has had. And I got a whole battle in front of Minas Tirith vibe from that singing, and the way they showed some couples like Grey Worm and I don't remember the black chick's name, but Grey Worm and her, Sansa and Theon. I really got a romantic vibe out of that.
I did too. Like, there was just one scene. It was like 2 seconds, but it just showed her face, just kind of looking at her. And it was like one of those. You don't really show that angle of a face or that type of a facial expression without something special being there.
Yeah, like they definitely feel. It feels like they're teasing something deeper than just a brother, like a what do you call it? Would it be a fraternal bond between them? I don't know the correct term.
It's almost like brother and sister. It was a ward, I think.
Yeah, because he was like essentially a ward of the state as a prisoner to keep his father in check, but he grew up like a sibling because he was still highborn, and it's not far fetched. I mean, see, I've always thought with Daenerys and Jon being related, that Jon would end up getting married to Sansa, despite their brother-sister relationship historically. It would be like, well, we're not actually related, so we need to unite the kingdoms, and he's the rightful heir. Sansa in the North would totally be down with the guy they thought was a Stark this whole time.
Yeah,
especially if he reveals that Ned Stark preserved the heir of Lyanna Stark.
Yeah. Well, boys, it is definitely getting late, so we're gonna wrap this up and everything. But
thank you for having me,
dude. This was a fun chat. Angus, I'm sorry we couldn't have this chat a little bit longer.
Yeah, but that's fine. I worked overnight, so on Monday, Tuesday, so.
It is okay, but we'll definitely get back to one of these, man. And I'm like I said, I'm glad to know you're a pretty big Game of Thrones guy, because this is becoming my bread and butter. It's like yeah.
The weird thing at first was I wasn't even a Game of Thrones fan till like 5 seasons in, and
me either.
My brother actually came in from California for a visit and was like, "Oh no, y'all have to watch it. You really, really have to watch it." So he almost forced us to sit there on the couch with him. He's like, "We're gonna go over a few episodes," and And like next thing, me and my wife, we just binged it. Like, we cleared 5 seasons in probably 2 weeks.
It's so funny. It's like there's two different types of people. There's like the Game of Thrones addicts, and then there's people that have never seen Game of Thrones. And
I'm an addict now too. That's it. And see, I love medieval. I've always loved medieval settings and backdrops and stories. And I've actually gotten out of reading books as an adult. But my brother and his wife, they read because he travels a lot and she's at home a lot without him. So they read, and they've read the books and they started the show. And they're like, no, dude, you really have to check this out. I started
reading the books in Afghanistan before I started watching the show. And I actually got made fun of because I was in the infantry. So you got a lot of retards that are just about shooting guns and working out. They have no brains. Or if they do, it's rare, and they kind of suppress it because they got to be like the jock type.
Yeah.
And I was a medic, so medics are already deemed weirdos no matter how much we conform. And so I just owned it because I like sci-fi stuff. And I eventually started watching it, and they made fun of, you watched a LARP show? But then they saw sex, and so then they started watching it, waiting for the sex scene. So then we all ended up getting into it in different ways, and that kind of gives me a different perspective for the show too. And given the climate we're in with SJWs, it's like, well, they've never been able to tear the show down, because it's got, just dicks as pussies, it's got gays, it's got bis, it's got straights, it's got different colors.
Dickless. It's got everything, man.
It's got intersex or, asexual technically, with eunuch and stuff. So,
and that's been so great.
Hey, Jesse, I don't know if you caught it, but I started doing my Game of Thrones Fandom Menace series.
Yes, I did. Oh my word! You made. What did I got onto? I got onto drunk a little bit. You made him Robert Baratheon. That was the best thing ever.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, you got to make me this or that," and I'm like, "Oh man, I don't know if he's gonna be disappointed or what, but hopefully he likes the way I kind of extrapolated the character to fit the YouTuber. Not everything's going to be perfect, but yeah, I take at least little glimmers. Like it all started when I did St. Germanus, and people said, make one for EVS and Jeff. And it's like, I don't have the inspiration for them. They don't have the same angle of content to pull from. And it ended up becoming
I thought that was genius. That was great.
Yeah, it became a Cecil thing, and then I got the idea of Jar Jar, and then it turned into Baelish, and then I started casting a bunch of other people, and so then I just had the problem of trying to figure out how to present it, so then I figured out the episodes, and now we're good.
Nice. I like it. So anybody else that looks in on this, I've got both Geek Gamers and Black Angus. There are links in the description, so if anybody watches this, you sub to these guys. These
I'll be right back.
Oh, you're good. These streams are always a thing that not many people are going to watch right offhand, because if you're like me, I don't like spoilers, and so most of the people are going to probably check this out after they've been able to see the episode for themselves.
That's what's so hard about Game of Thrones is not everybody's able to tune in on a Sunday night, and then it takes a few days to get the episode down, and then they come looking for the discussions. And
I'm telling you what, honestly, this stream right here, I went into this knowing that there's probably, like, of all 6 streams that I'm going to end up doing, there's probably going to be a total of 60 views between all 6 of them. And I couldn't care less, because I just freaking love this show, and I
love talking about it, dude.
I love talking about it. I love getting on it and everything. So yeah, man. Well, listen, everybody that's out there in YouTube land, thanks for tuning in or whatever. And I know Angus just had to pop out real quick, but we appreciate you guys, and you are always welcome on next week or anytime you want to talk again, brother.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be here, man. Like I say, last week was just a weird fluke.
It's all right. Well, I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up next week. I'll be on the DM machine.
All right.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
You too.